Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? Sean Payton met with the media on Monday, putting a button on the 2021 NFL season and the Saints season, which ended prematurely for in the minds of many of us. They finished above 500, but didn't get the help they need, as we all know. Payton tried to define this team and how it all wrapped up for them.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think that's something that you find out about really when guys have adversity. It's one of the things we look for when we're putting a team together, the makeup and toughness and grit, if you will. And I think it serves you well, not necessarily when you're winning, but it serves you well when you have to overcome some adversity. And I think clearly that would be a trait I would describe of this team.
They overcame a ton of adversities. We all know they used more starting players than any team in the history of the NFL. And as a result of their success, usually when you have successful organizations, staff members get poached. Sean Payton was asked if he expected staff members to have other opportunities.
Yeah, look, I think that comes with success, and I think it's a positive thing, and hopefully that happens again for guys get opportunities. But I think that's part of the deal, and there's certainly change every year.
Aaron Glenn, of course, Dan Campbell, we saw go to Detroit a year ago. He's right. Every year it does happen. A lot of people are asking about Dennis Allen. Could he be in line maybe for another head coaching job? Doesn't seem that way so far anyway. No reports yet of Dennis Allen getting looks for a head coaching opportunity. What we have seen, however, is Jeff Ireland is being called upon now. The Bears are requesting an interview with Jeff Ireland for their vacant GM job. Of course, they just fired Ryan Pace, who went to Chicago from New Orleans. But Chicago apparently just continuously trying to recreate what has been done here in New Orleans. And the thing about Ireland, and it's just undeniable, Jeff Ireland was hired back in January of 2015. And when he was hired, he had previously been the GM of the Dolphins from 2008 to 2013. And when he came to New Orleans, his focus was on college scouting. That was his emphasis. So a lot of the Saints' draft successes, people have attributed to Jeff Ireland. Now, I'm not going to tell you that Jeff Ireland gets all the credit for the draft success that the Saints have had since 2015. But it's also undeniable that Jeff Ireland has reshaped the college scouting operation for New Orleans. I mean, let me remind you that the year before Jeff Ireland showed up, the 2014 draft, Brandon Cooks, Stanley Jean-Baptiste might be the worst draft pick in the history of the Saints. Kyrie Fort, Vinny Sunseri, Ronald Powell, Tavon Rooks. You want to know why the Saints had back-to-back-to-back 7-9 seasons? Because their draft stunk! It's when I started the Island of Misfit Toys bit. They bombed on every draft pick and every free agent signee. Starting with that safety that they overpaid. What was his name, Muse? Look it up. I am so scarred by that. The guy from Buffalo, that they made the richest safety in the history of the league. I'm so scarred by that, I forgot his damn name. Paul, do you remember? What is it? Huh? Jarris Byrd. I'm going to start asking Paul questions, Muse. Never mind. Jarris Byrd. I'm so scarred by Jarris Byrd. I've blocked that dude's name out of my mind. The freaking Island of Misfit Toys bit. Kobe Fleener came. You all know. And then I rolled through all these names. Stanley Jean-Baptiste. Anyway. In 2015, that was Ireland's first year here. Now, granted, he was here for a few months before the draft, so I don't let you fully pin this on him. But that draft was Pete and Stephon Anthony were your two first-round picks. Ha'oli Kikaha, Garrett Grayson, P.J. Williams, Davis Tull, Tyler Davison, Damian Swan, and Marcus Murphy. That was a turd on a plate. But since then, they've come up aces. Sheldon Rankins, Michael Thomas, Von Bell, David Onyemata, Daniel Lasco. That was the first full year when Ireland was the director of college scouting for this team. And then 2017 is arguably the greatest draft they've ever had. Lattimore, Ramchick, Marcus Williams, Alvin Kamara, Alex Anzalone, Trey Hendrickson, and Al-Qadim Muhammad. I mean, that's one of the two best drafts in the history of the franchise. And even when they've had down drafts, they've still found hits. In 2018, Marcus Davenport, of course, they took in round 1. When he's been healthy, he's been awesome. Tre'Quan Smith has been a disappointment. The middle of that draft, Rick Leonard, Natrell Jamerson, Cameron Moore, no bueno. But at the bottom, Boston Scott in the 6th round, Will Clapp in the 7th. Boston Scott isn't with you anymore, but he's still in the NFL. And Will Clapp, as a 7th round pick, is still playing significantly for you. 2019, Eric McCoy, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Saquon Hampton, Alize Mack, Caden Ellis. Every one of those guys is still in the NFL. Now, the 2020 draft, you only drafted 4 players, and that's not looking so hot. Ruiz, Bond, Troutman, and Stevens. But you bounce back this year. Payton Turner, let's see him healthy. Pete Werner, when Quan was injured, stepped in admirably. Paulson Adebo became a starter as a rookie 3rd-round pick. Ian Book, you took a chance. We get it. Landon Young played for you this year after injury. And then Quan Baker, 7th-round pick receiver. Spent the bulk of the season on the practice squad. Is going to be back with New Orleans next year. The reality is Jeff Ireland isn't going to stay in New Orleans in that role forever. You'd love it if he did, but in the NFL, if you have success, you get better opportunities, and he's going to get one. He's going to get an opportunity to be a GM again, and he'll probably take a lot of what he learned from Mickey Loomis and being part of a winning organization to wherever he goes next. My hope is whatever he did so successfully here is rubbed off on who will remain in that department in college scouting, and that this trend will continue, because this is how you build the core of a football team. It's not through free agency, it's through the draft, because you can have great players on rookie deals, which allows you the financial flexibility to go sign free agents and not get so backwards with how the Saints have been. So it's not a done deal. Ireland's going to be interviewed for the GM job in Chicago, but they'd be dumb not to hire him at this point. Speaking of Quan Baker, the Saints have signed 8 practice squad players to reserve future contracts, and Baker's one of them. A bunch of guys that we saw in that game against Miami out of necessity. Linebacker Sharif Finch is one of them who played. Braxton Hoyt was another. Dylan Mabin. Freeman, he didn't get into a game. Jordan Miller did. Kavari Russell did. Aesop Winston did. Whenever we saw Deontay Harris serve his 3-game suspension, we saw Winston take over punt return duties there. So, and the other one, by the way, she mentioned is Gerald Hawkins, former LSU tackle Gerald Hawkins, who's bounced around the league a little bit. Pittsburgh, Tampa, Houston, New England. The Saints have signed him to a reserve future contract as well. So he'll be part of the 90-man roster when the offseason work begins. So the 2022 roster begins to be constructed now, and some of the names that at least will be there at the beginning, some familiar names as well. Will Jeff Ireland be? We'll find out in due time, but Jeff Ireland's going to interview with the Bears for the GM job. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.